Hi, my name's Eric. I'll be reading you selections from today's Cape Cod Times. Today's date is Monday, August 17th of 2026. We'll start with the weather, as we always do, and across the Cape and Islands today, humid with passing showers. A high of 73, a low of 66 in the overnight, partly cloudy and humid overnight. We're going to have a humid week, folks. On Tuesday, partly sunny and humid. Tomorrow, high of 78, low of 66. On Wednesday, humid with sunshine and a few clouds, a high of 85 and a low of 70, probably the warmest day of the week. On Thursday, humid with a few showers in the afternoon, a high of 82 and a low of 66. And on Friday, less humid with brilliant sunshine, high of 79, a low of 62. So look toward Friday, I guess, for the best day of the week, because we're going to have some humidity and some rain off and on throughout the week. The sun will rise at 5:52 a.m. today. It will set at 7:38 p.m. We'll have 13 hours and 46 minutes of daylight. The moon will rise at 11:22 a.m. It'll set at 9:46 p.m. Now, heading to the front of the paper, where they used to keep the lottery results, and we read these because, well, somebody asked for them. If there's something you would like read to people who are blind or print disabled, you can email us at info@audiblelocalledger.org or give us a call at 508-539-2030 and we'll consider reading it. And if you miss any of the information we share in our readings, you can always go to audiblelocalledger.org and click on the Listen tab. It's a fully disability compliant website. Under that Listen tab, All Reads to the Blind has 150 chronologically arranged readings that we do. So you'll find the most recent at the top. That way you can catch up on anything you might have missed. We also keep a wide variety of periodicals and literature up there in perpetuity for your listening enjoyment. And our radio plays stay up there as well, done by the Ledger Actors Workshop volunteers. And this month's is Meet the Bickersons. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy that. And next month's is The Time Machine, which will be coming up at the end of this month. We also keep our shopping guides up there, which are aired on Saturday at noon to 2 and Sunday from 11 to 1. And those are 15-minute readings of the shopping circulars that are stuffed into papers, so you know what's on sale at the supermarket. All of that is free for people who are blind or print disabled at audiblelocalledger.org. The Cape Cod Times goes to press too early to give you the latest results. In fact, they've taken the lottery out of their paper, The Daily, completely. So we go to masslottery.com for the latest results. And in the numbers game of Sunday, August 16th, in the midday, the results were 7, 4, 4, 5. Again, yesterday's midday winning numbers in the numbers game, 7, 4, 4, 5. In the evening, the numbers game results were 9, 2, 5, 8. Again, last night's evening winning numbers of the numbers game, 9, 2, 5, 8. Good luck to all who play. And remember us if you win. On the front page of today's Cape Cod Times, Mashpee pickleballer sees courts as a wasteland. Fewer players turn out on the first day of the quiet ball mandate, by Rachel Devaney in Mashpee. The town's mandate to use quieter pickleballs took effect Thursday, and the fallout from the order seemed obvious at the town-owned court on Ashumet Road. Around 9 a.m. on August 13th, just 8 players could be seen, each of the 2 teams knocking a town-approved pickleball ball back and forth. The 8-court play area, known as Mashpee Pickleball Park, usually hums with players every morning, said Jeff Evans of Sandwich. Cars are usually spilling out of the parking lot by this time. The courts are full, and every one of these benches are packed with people who are waiting their turn to get out on the court, Evans said to the Times, at the courts on Thursday. He was playing with a Monarch II quiet pickleball. Another player on hand was Scott D'Amato. Takes some getting used to, he said of a town-sanctioned sphere, but it's like having a child for the first time. You adjust. Ernie Barrows, a neighbor who's been complaining about the noise from the courts since they were installed in 2018, is still unhappy. In a telephone call Thursday from his living room, he said he could still hear the balls being hit by the paddles. Pickleball's become a battleground in the last 8 years. The pickleball courts have become a battleground between pickleball players and neighbors who've been volleying complaints and counter-arguments to the town over a game beloved for its accessibility, criticized for its relentless noise. Nancy Pearson, who lives near the courts, spoke up during an August 10th Select Board meeting. The town never gave anyone on Ashumet Road a heads up and never asked for my opinion before it was built, said Pearson of the courts. She said she's lived in her home for 27 years. Some say we should have opposed the court before it was built. We never got that option, she said. In July, town officials ordered using a quieter pickleball. Pickleball players pushed back, first at a July 27th Select Board meeting, citing the ball's cost and lack of official USA Pickleball approval. On August 1st, the town gave its blessing to the Vortex Ball Evo. A package of 3 balls cost $150. Because of issues of availability and price, the town then approved 9 other balls. On August 8th at the courts, roughly 200 pickleball players rallied in protest of the town-mandated quiet balls. The players at the rally also signed a petition against the requirement. The online petition currently has roughly 650 signatures. For avid pickleball player Marie Chung Truslow, none of the balls on the list are acceptable. She said she's disappointed the town didn't talk with local players on what type of ball is most suitable. The balls that are being proposed bounce everywhere, and they just don't play like a pickleball, said Chung Truslow, who spoke to the Times at the August 8th rally. We're grown adults playing at a high level, some of us, and we're not going to play with a Nerf ball, she said. A Nerf ball is generally a lightweight ball made of foam. The town doubles down on pickleball. Well, despite the backlash, the town stood firm on its municipal rule during the August 10th Select Board meeting. Town manager Rodney Collins said he has urged players to compromise, warning that litigation could lead to the courts being shut down permanently. The rally cry is that the town is engaged in unreasonable action. That's simply not true, said Collins during the meeting. Decisions by the town are made based on facts, not emotions. They're fueled on applicable law in the best interest of the town. Unfortunately, said Collins, the majority of pickleball players haven't looked at the situation from a logical standpoint. Those players have bickered and sound like spoiled adolescents, said Collins. If I had acted like they have, my father would have sent me to my room. In some ways, Chung Truslow said she understands the action taken by the town. The town manager was placed in an untenable position by Mr. Barrows, she said. He had to do something to appease him. Was the rally at the town pickleball courts lawful? During the August 10th Select Board meeting, Collins said the rally held by the pickleball players on Saturday, August 8th, was unlawful because organizers didn't secure a permit with the town. Local ordinances, he said, require a permit for rallies, marches, or other large gatherings, especially if they involve amplified sound, blocked traffic, or involve a significant number of people. Collins said he instructed his staff to communicate permit requirements to rally organizers. A reasonable response would have been to pause and comply with the rules, said Collins. Instead, the actions taken on Saturday were considered a direct response of defiance demonstrated by rally organizers and participants who cannot respect process. Select Board Chair John Cotton at the Select Board meeting admitted to being at the rally and taking a group photo with players. I was playing pickleball, as I always do on the weekends, he said. I did partake in the photo. I apologize if that was looked at as a sign of disrespect to Mr. Collins. Cotton told the Times on August 7th, a day before the rally, that he wasn't happy about changing the ball. I don't think there's enough justification to do so, he said in a voicemail left with the Times. But that's my opinion as a pickleballer. Any rules on how the courts are being used is up to the town manager. The new rule will be a disaster, said Chung Truslow. These courts, are going to become a wasteland, she said. The next headline in the Cape Cod Times of Monday, August 17th, Cape Cod Whale Connection fuels a 4,000-mile ride, by Heather McCarran. For nearly 50 years, Vincent James has carried a dream with him. In 1976, when he was 15 years old, he discovered Maps for Bike Centennial, a cross-country cycling route created during the nation's bicentennial. The route stretched from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, and he immediately imagined himself riding it. I said to myself, I want to do this, he said. 5 decades later, he's making that dream a reality finally, with a mission inspired by another lifelong connection. On August 13th, James, a New Jersey resident with a home in Truro, began a 4,000-mile bicycle journey across the country to raise money for the Center for Coastal Studies in Provincetown. His goal is to raise $50,000 for the organization as he rides from Portland, Oregon, where he will dip his back tire in the Pacific Ocean, to Portland, Maine, where he will dip his front tire in the Atlantic Ocean, and finally to Provincetown, all in 50 days, or early October. 50 is a big number, he said. It's 50 years for me since the cross-country dream began. It's the 50-year anniversary for the Center for Coastal Studies, and we're trying to raise $50,000. His connection to the organization began decades ago through his summers on Cape Cod, when he was in his 30s and visiting with his family. We've been going up to the Cape since 1992, James said. My parents had a timeshare in Brewster. Every summer, without fail, we would go and we would do the whale watch trips out of Provincetown. Those trips introduced him to the work of the center's scientists and to the whales that return each year to the waters off Cape Cod. Over the years, his appreciation for the organization grew into something deeper, a belief in the importance of protecting the ocean and the species that depend on it. It seems natural, he said, of choosing the Center for Coastal Studies as the beneficiary of his ride. They do such a wonderful job, not only with whales and whale disentanglement, but the conservation aspect and really doing, as they say, science that matters. The center's work with critically endangered North Atlantic right whales is especially meaningful to him. He previously lived in South America while working for Nabisco and saw southern right whales in Patagonia. But the challenges facing North Atlantic right whales made the Provincetown scientists' research and conservation efforts stand out. It's vital work, James said. Center for Coastal Studies Executive Director Anne-Marie Runfola said that the organization has had many generous donors and volunteers who help make the work possible, but no one has ever offered to ride a bicycle 4,000 miles across the country to support us. In addition to raising critical funds for the center, Vincent's effort shows a passion for our organization that inspires our community. And it inspires us too, she said. The Coast to Coast for Coastal Studies ride is all the more valuable, she added, because it shines a light on our 50th anniversary this year and what we've achieved with our communities to protect our ocean and coasts for the benefit of all of us. James's hope is also that the ride will do more than raise money. He wants it to start conversations about the importance of ocean health, including in communities more than 1,000 miles from the coast. People who live in landlocked states need to understand why ocean health matters to them too, James said. The oceans influence systems that affect the health of the entire planet, he said, adding, if we don't have healthy oceans and a healthy environment, it affects everything. We're all interconnected. The ride additionally represents the fulfillment of a promise James made to himself as a teenager. He said life repeatedly pushed the journey aside. After high school, he traveled to Europe. After college, he went to China to teach English. Later, when he and his wife were 30, they bought bicycles and prepared to finally make the ride. But a career opportunity changed those plans. And now at 65, James decided he can no longer wait. If I don't do it this year, I'm never going to do it, he said. In preparation, over the past 18 months, James has logged more than 4,000 miles on his bicycle, the same distance he'll cover during the trip. He gradually built his endurance, moving from shorter rides to longer distance, eventually completing 3 consecutive 100-mile rides and 7.5-hour ride covering 110 miles. Once you've proved to yourself that you can do it, then the mental outlook is different, James said. It's not going to be easy for sure, but it is going to be manageable. As of August 11th, the campaign has raised $21,960 toward the $50,000 goal. The supported ride is through Trek Travel and includes 24 other cyclists traveling for their own causes. Riders will stay in hotels each night while support vehicles transport their gear. The route will include major physical challenges, including Bighorn Pass in Wyoming, where riders will climb an 11-mile stretch with grades reaching 17%, and a 126-mile day in Minnesota. Supporters can follow James's journey on the Center for Coastal Studies Facebook and Instagram. He plans to share regular updates from the road, along with photos, experiences, and facts about the center's work and ocean conservation efforts. Those who would like to support James's ride can contribute through the center's Coast to Coast for Coastal Studies campaign at coastalstudies.org/get-involved/special events/Coast to Coast for Coastal Studies. The next local story on the front page of the Cape Cod Times for today, the 17th of August. Swimmer dies after Provincetown water rescue, by Michael Serrata of the Cape Cod Times. A swimmer taken in critical condition from the water off Provincetown on Friday has died, a spokeswoman for the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office said. The DA's office identified the victim as Nancy Gear, 81 years old, of New York. She and 2 other swimmers may have been caught in a rip current, Provincetown Town Manager Alex Morse said on Friday. On Friday, rescuers were called at 3 p.m. to Herring Cove Beach on a report of 3 people struggling in the possible rip current near Hatches Harbor. A rip current, also called a riptide, is a surface current that flows away from the shore, perpendicular or at an acute angle to the shoreline, according to online Cape Cod National Seashore guidance. 2 other swimmers were helped out of the water and had been reported to be in stable condition as of Friday. Provincetown Fire, Police, and Harbor Master departments began a search and rescue alongside the National Park Service, the U.S. Coast Guard, State Police, and other agencies. Hatches Harbor is a remote inlet between Herring Cove Beach and Race Point Light in the National Seashore. The U.S. Coast Guard found the missing swimmer floating in the water, according to the DA's office. Provincetown Fire Department took her to Cape Cod Hospital in Hyannis, where teams continued life-saving efforts without success. Gear's body was turned over to the state medical examiner's office, the DA's spokeswoman said. We're incredibly grateful to our first responders and partner agencies who worked quickly and collaboratively under challenging conditions to locate and recover all 3 individuals, Morse said in an August 14th statement. Our hearts are with those impacted by today's incident, as well as their families and loved ones. Such incidents are a painful reminder of how quickly conditions on the water can become dangerous, Morse said. The incident is under investigation by the State Police and the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office. Moving inside the paper as we keep it local, 2 escape serious injury when Zenith plane crashes, by Susan Vaughn. A plane crash Friday at Chatham Municipal Airport with no significant injuries is under investigation. The 2 people in the plane that crashed Friday morning, August 14th, were able to get out themselves, didn't have life-threatening injuries, but were taken to the hospital, according to the Chatham Fire Rescue Department. Upon arrival around 10:30 a.m., Chatham rescuers found a 17-foot Zenith plane upright on the runway, with significant damage to the bottom of the plane as well as the propeller, the fire department report said. The fire department took the 2 occupants to Cape Cod Hospital in Hyannis. Fuel was secured to the plane, and containment pools and a fast-drying product was used to gather the remaining fuel that was leaking, according to the department. There were no further hazards, and no other planes or civilians were involved. A full fire department responded to the call, and Chatham Police Department and the Chatham Airport staff provided assistance. The crash is under investigation by the FAA and Mass DOT Aeronautics Division. The airport's operated by the town of Chatham. With an election coming up, you'll start to hear some political news in the upcoming issues, I'm sure. The Cape and Islands section has a large story about the 9th Congressional District candidates in the Democratic primary. This is written by Heather McCarran. Democratic voters in Massachusetts' 9th Congressional District will have a choice in the September 1st primary, as U.S. Representative William Keating of Bourne seeks renomination against challenger Craig Swallow, a New Bedford native and first-time congressional candidate. The district represents the Cape and Islands, South Coast, and South Shore, stretching north to Cohasset, south to Nantucket, east to Provincetown, and west to Westport. The primary is September 1st. The general election is November 3rd. The last day to register to vote in the primary is Saturday, August 22nd. Ahead of the primary, the Times asked both candidates about their priorities, their qualifications, and views of the issues affecting the district. The winning candidate will advance to the November 3rd general election ballot. Candidates are listed alphabetically by last name. Candidate William Keating, age 73, town of residence, Bourne, profession or occupation, attorney and member of Congress, civic, elected, or community experience, a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, district attorney for Norfolk County, senator for Massachusetts State Senate, member of the Massachusetts State House. Social media, Facebook, elect Bill Keating. Instagram, Bill Keating MA9. On X, at William Keating. YouTube, at vote-Bill Keating. And Blue Sky, at billkeating.bsky.social. What do you see as the three biggest challenges facing the 9th Congressional District over the next decade? And what specific role should the federal government play in addressing them? One of the greatest challenges facing our district is affordability. Over the next decade, rising costs will have a disproportionate impact on our region, where an older population and a strained healthcare system leave families especially vulnerable. Republicans' H.R. 1 includes the largest cuts to Medicaid and Affordable Care Act coverage in our nation's history. These cuts alone will increase premiums 50% and deductibles an additional $1,000. Cynically, these looming threats will not be implemented until after this year's election. Restoring these programs must be an immediate priority, while continuing to expand affordable coverage and moving toward universal health care through Medicare for all. At the same time, Trump's tariff policies are raising the cost of living. Higher prices for groceries, gasoline, heating oil, housing materials, and everyday goods are costing Massachusetts families an estimated $4,000 each year. Congress should reverse harmful tariffs and reassert its constitutional authority over trade and war powers. And finally, the administration is rolling back prescription drug savings that were achieved through the Inflation Reduction Act. Congress should protect and expand Medicare's authority to negotiate lower drug prices, increase competitive bidding, and ensure that families, not pharmaceutical companies, benefit from lower healthcare costs. What's one federal policy that most affects residents of the 9th District, but receives far less public attention than it deserves? We're only beginning to see the consequences of cuts to health care, most of which won't take effect until, again, after the election, as hospitals, community health centers, nursing homes, and other providers prepare next year's budgets. Consequences of the administration's immigration and deportation actions also won't be felt until after the election. Republicans have given this president years of funding to continue their trajectory. At a time when slowing population growth is constraining our workforce and economy, these policies risk worsening labor shortages across critical industries. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce and other organizations warn that reducing legal immigration and removing workers, already contributing to our economy, will diminish productivity and economic growth. The effect will be especially severe in healthcare and long-term care, since many employees are immigrants. Losing these workers will make it harder to care for our parents and grandparents, while staffing shortages at healthcare facilities remain critical. Communities like ours, with a large senior population and an economy that depends on hospitality and tourism, will feel these impacts disproportionately. We can maintain secure borders while also enacting comprehensive immigration reform that expedites processing delays and implements pathways to citizenship, strengthening our workforce and our economy. Climate change is no longer an abstract issue for many communities in this district. If resources were limited and you had to choose, would you prioritize reducing future emissions or helping coastal communities adapt to impacts already underway, and why? In our district, we're national leaders in addressing the impacts of climate change, and I've taken a leadership role in advancing coastal resiliency through hundreds of millions of dollars in federal grants, including the Herring River Restoration Project in Wellfleet, which alone required $27 million in federal support. Our district is also a national leader in using science-based approaches to restore marshes, create natural filtration buffers, expand estuaries, and strengthen climate-resilient infrastructure. The Southeast New England program, which I co-founded, has helped leverage millions of dollars in state, nonprofit, and local investment in our communities. Ultimately, we will not succeed without a long-term approach. Coastal districts like ours will be particularly vulnerable to rising sea levels and worsening climate impacts. That's why I've supported major legislation to reduce emissions while investing in the jobs and technologies that will support new industries and power our economy into the next century. Can you describe a time when you disagreed with people on your own side because you believed it was the best course for the district? I have a long history of standing up to the most powerful people of my party when necessary, whether it was going against then Senate President Bolger to bring needed reform despite enormous political pressure. Also, when I became one of the first Massachusetts State House members to come out in support of marriage equality. That continues, as I have received the endorsement of the Bay State Stonewall Democrats and the Equality Caucus. Yet I also think back to the time when offshore wind didn't receive the support of many in my party's leadership. Offshore wind offers cost-saving, clean, renewable energy that's critical to move us forward, now more than ever with skyrocketing energy costs. Additionally, it will bolster our local economy, not just with good-paying jobs, but with revenue from all the emerging ancillary industries. I talk with colleagues around the world about energy initiatives, and it's clear that along with other renewables, wind energy is part of an energy-resilient future. And with Representative Keating's answer, we are at the midway point in our reading. Regular listeners are aware. It's at this stage that we move to a different kind of local news. We will return for candidate Craig Swallow's responses to those same questions. But at the midway point, we move to the obituaries and death notices that are listed in that day's Cape Cod Times. And the first obituary is of Earl W. Adams, Jr. of Medfield, Pennsylvania, and Hyannisport, died July 4th after a brief illness. He was born in Lansing, Michigan, November 13th, 1937. Earl attended school in Lansing and matriculated at the University of Michigan, graduating in 1959. He attended Johns Hopkins University for a year before shifting his academic focus and attending MIT from which he earned his Ph.D. in 1971. While at MIT, Earl met Barbara Charlton, a librarian with the Dewey Library. They married in August of 1964 and were happily married until Barbara's death in 2023. He began his academic career in 1964 as an assistant professor of economics at Amherst College. In 1966, he joined the faculty of the University of Pittsburgh, again as an assistant professor of economics. In 1972, Earl joined the staff of Allegheny College, where he was named the Andrew Wells Robertson Professor of Economics, and where he would remain until his retirement in 2005. He received the Thoburn Award for Excellence in Teaching in 1994 and the Julian Ross Award for Excellence in Teaching in 2005. Earl's long career at Allegheny inspired countless students. His spirit of intellectual curiosity lives on through the Earl W. Adams Jr. Endowment, established by Allegheny College trustee William Brown, class of '80, and the Earl Adams Economic Scholarship Fund, established by Dr. Roger Tufts in '76, and the Elkes Foundation. He was a member of the American Economic Association, the Pennsylvania Economics Association, Phi Beta Kappa, and Phi Kappa Phi. Earl was an accomplished violinist in his youth, a lifelong opera fan, a voracious reader, a happy traveler, and he was insatiably curious all his life. He was quick to laugh and will be missed by his children, his colleagues, and his former students. In lieu of flowers, please consider a donation to the Hyannis Public Library. The next obituary in today's Cape Cod Times is of Marjorie R. Primavera of Falmouth, who at the age of 91 passed peacefully on Tuesday, August 11th. Marjorie lived a long and creative life marked by kindness, curiosity, talent, and devotion to family and friends. Raised in Meriden, Connecticut, she showed early academic promise and went on to study physical therapy at the University of Connecticut, where she met her future husband, Ronald. Their marriage of more than 6 decades was a partnership grounded in love, support, and shared life across Connecticut, Albany, and Cape Cod. Marjorie's gifts blossomed most fully through her artistry and teaching. A skilled needleworker, beater, and card maker, she brought patience, thoughtfulness, color, and imagination to everything she made. Above all, Marjorie will be remembered for her generous spirit, her humor, her resilience, and her belief in the potential of every person. Her own words captured the values by which she lived. Go for it, be kind, be understanding, and have patience galore. She leaves behind a legacy of love, creativity, gratitude, and encouragement that will continue to inspire all who knew her. Marjorie was predeceased by her beloved husband of 61 years, Ronald, who passed away in 2020. She is survived by many family and friends. In lieu of flowers, any donations in Marjorie's memory may be made to Neighborhood Falmouth. Family and friends are invited to pay their respects at 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday, August 19th, that's this coming Wednesday, at Our Lady of the Assumption, 76 Wiano Avenue, Osterville, Mass. A funeral mass will immediately follow at 12:30 p.m. A graveside service will be held at 12:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 20th, at St. Michael's Cemetery in Stratford, Connecticut. And the final obituary in today's Cape Cod Times is of Joan M. Shanahan of Worcester, who passed peacefully Sunday, July 12th. She was predeceased by her beloved husband, George Shanahan, Jr., who passed in 2007. She leaves many family and friends. She was born in Worcester and spent all of her life in Worcester, a city she was proud to call home, while also creating many treasured memories during summers on the beautiful beaches of Cape Cod, especially West Dennis Beach. A 1954 graduate of Commerce High School, Joan built a remarkable career at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, where she worked as an administrative secretary for more than 30 years before retiring in 2004. Much of her career was spent in WPI's Project Center, where she was respected for her dedication, kindness, and professionalism. In recognition of her many contributions, she was honored in 1994 and inducted into the WPI Skull Society. Joan will be remembered most for the love, laughter, and joy she brought to those around her. She was a true Spitfire, with a wonderful sense of humor and a personality that could light up a room. As Nana, she had a special way of making her grandchildren laugh and creating memories they will treasure forever. Calling hours will be held Thursday, August 20th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at Athey Funeral Home, 111 Lancaster Street in Worcester. A memorial mass will be celebrated on Friday, this coming Friday, August 21st at 11 a.m. at the Blessed Sacrament Church, 555 Pleasant Street in Worcester. In lieu of flowers, memorial donations may be made to Toys for Tots or a charity of your choice. And that concludes the obituaries and death notices that are listed in today's Cape Cod Times. Heading back to the Cape and Islands section, and we will complete meeting the 9th Congressional District candidates in the Democratic primary. We just heard before the obituaries about William Keating, Representative Keating, who's been there for quite a while. His challenger is the candidate Craig Swallow. Age 40. Town of residence, New Bedford. Swallow's profession or occupation, hospitality general manager and community organizer. Civic, elected, or community experience. Co-leader of a local indivisible chapter. Longtime community advocate on the South Coast. Former public school substitute teacher and student teacher in New Bedford and Dartmouth campaign. Has a website, craigswallowforcongress.com. Social media on Facebook, Craig for Congress. On Instagram, Craig for Congress. What do you see as the 3 biggest challenges facing the 9th Congressional District over the next decade? And what specific role should the federal government play in addressing them? Healthcare, infrastructure, and our coastline. First, families here are choosing between filling a prescription and paying the rent. That's not right. I support Medicare for all, guaranteeing every resident comprehensive care without the fear of bankruptcy. Second, the Bourne and Sagamore bridges are lifelines for the Cape and Islands, and they're crumbling. As one of the highest donor states to the federal government, we deserve our fair share back. I'll fight relentlessly to secure full federal funding to replace them. Third, our coast is on the front line of climate change. From New Bedford's fishing fleet to Barnstable's shores, rising seas and stronger storms threaten homes and livelihoods. The federal government must invest directly in coastal resilience, working harbors, and clean energy jobs that keep our economy strong and local. What's one federal policy that most affects residents of the 9th District, but receives far less public attention than it deserves? Federal fisheries policy. New Bedford is the most valuable fishing port in the nation, yet decisions made in Washington about quotas, permits, and monitoring rarely reflect the voices of the people who work our waters. These rules shape whether a family-run boat survives another season, and Trump administration priorities to advance license stacking will disadvantage owner-operators and consolidate the industry into a corporate model that benefits shareholders at the expense of the local economy of crews, welders, rigging companies, and other local small businesses. I'll fight for fishermen to have a real seat at the table, for science-based management that protects both fish stocks and jobs, and for federal relief when regulations or environmental shifts hit our fleet hard, especially as we expect fisheries to move further north for colder waters. Our port isn't a line item. It's the heartbeat of the South Coast, and it deserves leadership that shows up. Climate change is no longer an abstract issue for many communities in this district. If resources were limited and you had to choose, would you prioritize reducing future emissions or helping coastal communities adapt to the impacts already underway, and why? Well, ideally, we do both. Cutting emissions and protecting our shores go hand in hand. But if forced to choose for mass ninth, I'd lean toward coastal adaptation. And the reason is simple. The water's already rising. The storms are already stronger. And families in Falmouth, New Bedford, and on the islands are living those consequences right now. We can't tell someone whose home floods every year to wait. I'm a strong supporter of green and renewable energy. On offshore wind, though, I believe we should finish the projects already underway while gathering more data on the impact to our coastline and marine ecosystems before approving any new ones. That means protecting our fishing communities as we build a cleaner future, responsibly and together. Can you describe a time when you disagreed with people on your own side because you believed it was the best course for the district? I've broken sharply with mainstream Democrats on two fronts. First, corporate PAC money. Too many in my own party accept it and then wonder why voters don't trust us. I refuse a single dime of it, and I've said so plainly, even when it wasn't popular. Americans are tired of corporate politicians, and I won't be one. Second, this moment demands courage. The current administration is breaking the law, and honestly, I don't feel our leaders, Democrats included, are doing nearly enough to stop the slide toward authoritarianism. We need to think outside the box, strengthen states' rights, and have donor states leverage their federal contributions. Carefully worded outrage isn't oversight. I'll fight, openly and without apology. So there you have the two candidates profiled for the 9th Congressional District. You'll be voting on September 1st to determine which one will be on the ballot for the general election in November. Keeping it local, we'll move into the sports with the Cape Cod Baseball League. The Cape League's greatest alumni, Sale, Judge, Posey, and more, have all played here. By Courtney Jacobs. The Cape Cod Baseball League, the CCBL, is widely regarded as the premier collegiate summer baseball league in the U.S. It goes back to 1885, when Cape Cod towns began playing organized baseball against one another. The league was formally organized as the Cape Cod Baseball League in 1923, originally featuring teams from Falmouth, Osterville, Hyannis, and Chatham. For much of its early history, the league consisted of local and regional players. The CCBL's modern era began in the 1960s when it transitioned to a collegiate summer league and adopted wooden bats, giving top college players a chance to compete under conditions similar to professional baseball. This move helped turn the Cape League into one of the MLB's most important scouting grounds. The league currently features 10 teams across Cape Cod, including the Bourne Braves, the Brewster Whitecaps, the Chatham Anglers, the Cotuit Kettleers, the Falmouth Commodores, the Harwich Mariners, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, the Orleans Firebirds, the Wareham Gatemen, and Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. Scouts from all 30 MLB organizations regularly attend games, and the league has produced more than 1,600 major league players. The league's motto, "Where the stars of tomorrow shine tonight," reflects its reputation as a proving ground for future MLB stars. Here are the top 25 MLB players that have played in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Number 25, Andrew Miller, for the Detroit Tigers, Florida Marlins, Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, and St. Louis Cardinals. His CCBL team was the Chatham Anglers in 2004 and 2005, came out of North Carolina College, and his Major League Baseball debut was on August 30th of 2006 for the Detroit Tigers. His career highlights and awards: he was a two-time All-Star, 2016 and 17, and ALCS MVP in 2016, AL Reliever of the Year in 2015, and World Baseball Classic champion in 2017. The next star, Ben Sheets of the Milwaukee Brewers, Oakland Athletics, and Atlanta Braves. His CCBL team was the Wareham Gatemen in 1998 in Orleans. The college he went to was Louisiana Monroe. MLB debut was on April 5th of 2001. Career highlights and awards. Plenty. Number 23, Shane Bieber of the Cleveland Guardians and the Toronto Blue Jays. Number 22, Corbin Burns of the Milwaukee Brewers, Baltimore Orioles, and Arizona Diamondbacks. Number 21, Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies. His CCBL team was the Wareham Gatemen in 2012 and 2013. He went to Indiana for college, and his MLB debut was on June 16th of 2015 for the Chicago Cubs. He's a four-time All-Star, a World Series champion, a National League Silver Slugger Award winner, a two-time National League home run leader, and an MLB RBI leader. Number 20, Chuck Knobloch of the Minnesota Twins, the New York Yankees, and the Kansas City Royals. His CCBL team was the Wareham Gatemen in 1988. Came out of Texas A&M. He debuted in baseball professionally on April 9th of 1991. He was a four-time All-Star, four-time World Series champion, an AL Silver Slugger Award winner, a Rawlings AL Golden Glove winner, and Jackie Robinson AL Rookie of the Year. Number 19, Pete Alonso of the New York Mets and Baltimore Orioles. His CCBL team was the Bourne Braves in 2015, and he came out of Florida as a college. His Major League debut was on March 28th of 2019 for the Mets. He's a five-time All-Star, All-MLB First Team, NL Rookie of the Year, Home Run Derby winner, Jackie Robinson National League Rookie of the Year, and Major League Baseball home run leader, and National League Silver Slugger, and National League RBI leader. Number 18, Mike Lowell of the New York Yankees and the Florida Marlins and the Boston Red Sox. His CCBL team was the Chatham Anglers. He came out of Florida International College. He debuted in September of 1998. He's a four-time All-Star, two-time World Series champion, Willie Mays World Series MVP, National League Silver Slugger, Rawlings National League Gold Glove, and Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. Mark Teixeira is number 17. He played for the Texas Rangers, the Atlanta Braves, and the New York Yankees. His CCBL team was the Orleans Cardinals and Firebirds, 1999. His college was Georgia Tech. He started in his pro baseball debut on April 1st. His career highlights: three-time All-Star, five-time Rawlings AL Golden Glove, three-time AL Silver Slugger Award, AL Home Run Leader, AL RBI Leader, and World Series Champion. Josh Donaldson is next. Played with a lot of teams: the Athletics, the Blue Jays, the Indians, the Braves, the Twins, the Yankees, and the Brewers. His CCBL team was the Harwich Anglers in 2006. He came out of Auburn, and his Major League debut was on April 30th of 2010 for the Oakland A's. Three-time All-Star, AL MVP, two-time Silver Slugger Award, AL Hank Aaron Award, NL Comeback Player of the Year, and AL RBI Leader. Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. His CCBL team was the Wareham Gatemen of 2021. Came out of Louisiana State as a college, and he debuted on May 11th of 2024. National League Cy Young winner, three-time All-Star, two-time All-MLB First Team, and Jackie Robinson National League Rookie of the Year. Next is Lance Berkman of Houston Astros, the Yankees, the Cardinals, and the Texas Rangers. His CCBL team was the Wareham Gatemen in 1996. Came out of Rice College. He debuted in the majors on July 16th of 1999 for the Houston Astros. He's a six-time National League All-Star, a World Series champ, National League Comeback Player of the Year, and in the Houston Astros Hall of Fame. Nomar Garciaparra, the Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Oakland Athletics. His CCBL team was the Orleans Cardinals, Firebirds, in 1993. Came out of Georgia Tech. He debuted in the pros on August 31st of 1996. Nomar was a six-time All-Star, a Silver Slugger Award winner, National League Comeback Player of the Year, and Jackie Robinson AL Rookie of the Year, a two-time AL batting champion, and a member of the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. Will Clark is ranked number 12. He played with the San Francisco Giants, the Texas Rangers, the Baltimore Orioles, and the St. Louis Cardinals. His CCBL team was the Cotuit Kettleers in 1983. He came out of high school, Jesuit, New Orleans. His major league debut was on April 8th, 1986 for the San Francisco Giants. He was a National League Championship Series MVP, a six-time All-Star, two-time National League Silver Slugger. He had a Rawlings Gold Glove, a San Francisco Giants number 22 number retired, and San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame. Number 11, Mo Vaughn of the Boston Red Sox, Anaheim Angels, and New York Mets. His CCBL team was the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen. He came out of Seton Hall. He debuted in the majors on June 27th of 1991. He's an AL MVP in 1995 and a three-time All-Star and an AL Silver Slugger Award winner. Number 10, Chris Bryant of the Chicago Cubs, the San Francisco Giants, and the Colorado Rockies. His CCBL team was the Chatham Anglers in 2011. He came out of San Diego College. His MLB debut was in April of 2015 for the Cubs. He's a four-time All-Star, a World Series champion, a National League MVP, National League Rookie of the Year, National League Hank Aaron Award winner, and the Golden Spikes Award winner for 2013. Into the top 10, we're now at number 9, Thurman Munson. There's a name for you. The New York Yankees, CCBL team, the Chatham Anglers. And that was in 1967. He's a member of the Houston Astros Hall of Fame. Can that be right? I don't think that's right. I think there's some stuff is being swapped around here in the styles. But anyway, number 8 is Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants. His CCBL team is the Yarmouth Dartmouth Red Sox in 2006 and 7. He went to Florida State, and his MLB debut was on 9/11 of 2009. In National League MVP, Buster Posey was a 7-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 3 times World Series champion, Rawlings Gold Glove winner, Comeback Player of the Year, Wilson Defensive Player of the Year, Hank Aaron Award, Jackie Robinson National League Rookie of the Year, National League Batting Champion, Giants Willie McCovey Award, and San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame. Chris Sale for the Chicago White Sox, Boston Red Sox, and Atlanta Braves is number 7. His CCBL team was the Yarmouth Dennis in 2009. He came out of Florida Gulf Coast College. His MLB debut was on August 6th of 2010 for the Chicago White Sox. He won a Cy Young Award. He's a 10-time All-Star, World Series champion, Rawlings National League Gold Glove, MLB Players' Choice Comeback Player, 3-time strikeout leader, All-NBL First Team, Triple Crown, NL ERA leader, NL Wins leader. Number 6, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. His CCBL team was the Brewster Whitecaps in 2012. He came out of Fresno State College, and his MLB debut was on August 13th of 2016 for the Yankees. His career highlights: 3-time AL MVP, AL record for home runs in a single season with 62, 8-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, 4-time All-MLB First Team, 3-time AL Hank Aaron Award. AP Male Athlete of the Year in 2022, Jackie Robinson AL Rookie of the Year in 2017, 3-time AL Home Run Leader, Roberto Clemente Award, the Wilson Defensive Player of the Year Award, Fielding Bible Award, and the Home Run Derby winner in 2017. Number 5, Billy Wagner of the Houston Astros, the Phillies, the Mets, the Red Sox, and the Braves. His CCBL team was the Brewster Whitecaps. He came out of Ferrum, Virginia College. His MLB debut was on September 13th of 95. He was inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame in 2025. He was a 7-time All-Star, National League Relief Man Award, pitched a no-hitter on June 11th of 2003, and the Houston Astros retired number 13 on August 16th of 2025. Number 4, Jeff Bagwell of the Houston Astros. He played for the Chatham Anglers in the CCBL. He came out of Hartford College. His MLB debut was on April 8th, 1991 for the Houston Astros. He is a member of the MLB Hall of Fame. He was an NL MVP, a 4-time All-Star, a 3-time National League Silver Slugger, a Gold Glove Award winner, Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year. Houston Astros number 5 has been retired, and he's a member of the Houston Astros Hall of Fame. Number 3, Craig Biggio of the Houston Astros. His CCBL team is the Yarmouth Dartmouth Red Sox. He came out of Seton Hall. He debuted on June 28th of 1988 for the Houston Astros. He's a member of the Hall of Fame, a 5-time Silver Slugger winner, a 4-time Rawlings Gold Glove winner, 7-time All-Star, Roberto Clemente Award, Houston Astros number 7 retired, Houston Astros Hall of Fame. Number 2, Carlton Fisk of the Boston Red Sox and Chicago White Sox. His CCBL team was the Orleans Cardinals and Firebirds in 1966. Came out of New Hampshire College. His MLB debut was on September 18th of 1969. He's a member of the Hall of Fame, 11-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger, a member of the Gold Glove Award-winning club, the Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year. Boston Red Sox number 27 was retired. Chicago White Sox number 72 was retired, and he's a member of the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. And the number 1 ranked of the Cape League's greatest alumni is Frank Thomas of the Chicago White Sox, Oakland Athletics, Toronto Blue Jays. His CCBL team was the Orleans Firebirds, came out of Auburn College. He debuted in pro baseball on August 2nd, 1990 for the Chicago White Sox. His career highlights, well, Hall of Fame, first ballot, 2-time AL MVP, 5-time All-Star, 4-time AL Silver Slugger winner. Cal Raleigh, Justin Masterson, Justin Smoke, Tino Martinez, Jacoby Ellsbury, Matt Wieters, Jeff Kent, Joe Kelly, Sean Casey, Ron Darling, George Springer, Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, Brandon Crawford, Evan Longoria, Dallas Keuchel, Adley Rutschman, and Marcus Stroman are all honorable mentions. Personally, I would put Aaron Judge ahead of Frank Thomas, but that's just me. And with that, we've come to the end of our reading of the Cape Cod Times for today, Monday, August 17th of 2026. This is your reader, Eric, saying be well, be safe, look after each other. Remember our veterans, especially those we've lost recently. Bye for now.